So the astrology of the week of 13 June 2022 through 18 June 2022, very interesting week of astrology. We actually get a very rare lineup upon Mercury's entry into Gemini. That will be one for the ages, I think. We'll have many planets in dignity this week. And so it's a continuation, in a way, maybe some of the best astrology all of June, in a month of June that is the best astrological month of 2022, in my view, or at least a strong candidate for the best month. So this is a potent week, and we get this full moon, this climax of the full moon in Sagittarius to kind of push us forward into the fire of this June moment with both Jupiter and Mars in Aries. Here, let's jump into the astrology. My name's S.J. Anderson. Welcome here. Welcome to my channel. Glad you're here. Talk about astrology on this channel in many different ways. And actually, I think I'm going to do this here instead of at the end. And just let you all know, this is the last iteration of weekly astrology as such. I am retiring this format for my own workflow, really just to give myself more flexibility and freedom. There's so many topics I want to cover, so many astrological topics that I want to cover. And I have a hard time getting to everything when I'm sort of locked into producing a weekly video and releasing it every Sunday. The second thing is that I want to free up some time. I'm trying to de-stress, relax more, work more efficiently, and free up weekends for me to just maybe have more of a relaxation time on Sundays. And this video, it's just not possible with it. So you will still on this channel get regular updates with transits of all kinds. It's just going to be a little bit different. There's other astrologers here, like Kelly Surtees, for example. If you watch her videos, she kind of talks about transits, certain ones she's interested in as they go. I think that's what I'm going to do, but you're also going to get a bunch of other content now. See, this frees me up to talk about a whole range of topics. I'm going to release a video with this video today that is the first in this kind of, it's not even new, because when I first started this channel, I was doing topical videos regularly about a range of topics. So it's going to allow me to do more teaching on this channel. I'm going to be able to talk about techniques. I'm going to be able to talk about mundane astrology more specifically. I'm going to be able to talk about a whole host of astrological problems or philosophical and theoretical problems with a little bit more of focus and pointed focus, where I can actually show my work and bring citations in and quote thinkers and writers and look at chart examples. It's going to open up a whole range, wonderful, I think, and improved content on the channel. So look for that. And I know a lot of you out there have relied on this. You check in with me week in and week out, and I just want to thank you for that, because it's been an honor and a privilege to ride with you. And you can still do it. Just look for the videos when they come out. I think you can, your YouTube feed will populate if you've subscribed. It'll show that new S.J. Anderson video. You can just do it that way. And you'll see everything I'm doing. All right. So this is the week of astrology. Like I was saying, it's one of the best weeks of the year. This week is the best months of the year. And this week, I think last week, there was an argument for that being maybe the best. This week, there's a great argument for this week being the best. I think the difference is you're in a waning moon phase this week after the full moon versus a waxing phase. So depending on what kind of activities you wanted to do or that you want to do this week, I think could be better. And you get Mercury. The big thing is Mercury comes out of Gemini. Let's look at it here. These are the main planetary changes this week. Mercury will enter Gemini, coming out of Taurus off of Algol. It's off of Algol now after about a degree once it moves away from Algol, but it's now clearly away from that part of the zodiac. It's out of Taurus. The Mercury and Taurus story is complete at this week as of Monday, 5/26 here in Central Europe. And so what that does is it sets up a very epic moment. And there's a whole nother video now on my channel that breaks this down from more of a mundane astrological perspective, but it's a rare configuration. Mercury's in Gemini. Venus is in Taurus, Mars is in Aries, Saturn is in Aquarius, 4 planets, or four planets in their domicile in the transiting sky. And that's a very rare configuration. Does not happen very often. The last time that happened, those 4 planets being in domicile, was 1990. And the time before that was 1960. So we're dealing with about a once every 30 year cycle on a moment here with Mercury, Mars, Saturn. Actually, sorry, it's only with Mercury, Mars, and Venus being in domicile is a 30-year cycle. That's why, and I say this all the time, and I'll say it here again, you do not need so-called outer planets. You do not need Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto for robust cycle astrology, mundane cycle astrology. They're not needed. Now, they add things, don't get me wrong. You can use them to add some great power, but they're not needed to understand long-term cycles. Some astrologers I've talked to, for whatever reason, believe that. They think, well, I don't use the traditional planets, particularly Mars and everything closer, because, well, those cycles are too short. Well, no, they're not. And this is just a perfect example. You have Mercury in Gemini, Venus in Taurus, Mars in Aries. That has not happened for 32 years. That's a long cycle. So let me come back. That is on Monday. You get Mercury re-entering. And I remember the Mercury retrograde story is now almost over. We're pushing ahead with our Mercury story for this summer. And that, for me, would tip it over to where this week is sort of the most potent. You get the powerful return of Mercury in domicile in these early degrees where it's powerful, where its Egyptian term is. We push ahead and we push forward. The other major story this week is Venus will be with first the nodes, so it will conjoin the North Node opposed to the South Node. That happens on, what is that, Thursday? You've got that Thursday, 11:46 in the morning, 17, 18, 19. So yeah, sorry, let me do my little dance here. Yes, that is Thursday. And then you have Venus squaring Saturn on Saturday, 23:31, so Saturday in the evening. This is a week where Venus's Taurus story now comes under this pressure of the squares to Saturn, or from Saturn, and then the conjunction with the nodes. Our Venus and Taurus story now gets a little bit corrupted, as they say in some of the ancient texts. It's going to be a little bit shaky and dicey this week if you've been relying and enjoying on that Venus and Taurus. So those are the major stories. And so I want to start out here. There's a chart that I want to point out. My transit of the week arrives quite early, 13 June, right here on Monday, right out of the gate, actually, right? This video, hey, might not even be out for the transit of the week. And I'm sorry, this is part of why I'm shifting out of this format, because it's like these deadlines and then I get overwhelmed and then I can't get out ahead of certain things. But it's really the Sagittarius moon that arrives right away, right after midnight. The moon ingresses into Sagittarius here at 32 after midnight. The moon has already risen. It's right near the midheaven when it ingresses into Sagittarius. And so applying to Jupiter, this is kind of the closest I could get the moon in the 10th house or the 11th house where I like it. Get strong Jupiter in the 2nd house with Mars. It's just a nice election for any kind of things you want to do. These are all general elections, general energies. I was looking at this for North America, and you can get the moon rising as it's closely applying to Jupiter in the 5th house. That whole Aries configuration goes to that wonderful 5th house. And so I would try to get it while the moon is still applying to Jupiter in your country where you are. But this is the transit of the week. It's just a wonderful fire moon. The theme of this week, or of this month, this awesome month of astrology, as I've been talking about it, and then last week and this week, is the fire, the passion for life, the moving into life, getting things done, planning for what will be a very dynamic and difficult second half of the year, I believe. This was the time to get your stuff done and to get out into the world and push out and expand and grow and do really cool stuff. I'm seeing all kinds of traveling. All of my astrologer friends are out there. There's so many out there that came from America to Europe right now that I'm seeing on my Instagram feeds. Exciting time for a lot of people. I just was fortunate to spend a few days in Zurich last week. That's where I decided last minute to travel for my little bit of a time off. Wonderful time in Zurich. I love Switzerland. If there's anybody out there in Switzerland, you've got a beautiful country, and I hope to return at some point. It was just very comfortable being in Switzerland. But just to come back, these are the kind of fire, expansive energies that this moment is opportune. And then this moon, this Sag moon, as it's waxing into fullness, early degrees applying to Jupiter, we can capture some of that here Monday, Tuesday this week. And so the next thing I'm really interested to talk about is that where I'm still on this Sagittarius moon on Monday, you are going to get a really special transit, which includes every traditional planet having some form of dignity in the ancient dignity system. They will all have a plus score in these, Renaissance astrological scoring systems. And this is because the sun is in its decan, the last decan of Gemini now, and the moon will be in its decan, the middle decan of Sagittarius, all while those other planets are either in their Egyptian term, Jupiter's in its Egyptian term, and then you have the 4 planets in domicile that I already mentioned. That covers all 7. And so I do think this lead up, this Sagittarius moon is it's going to be some cool energy. I want to get out and explore. I want to walk around. I want to meet people. I want to talk to people. That's the fire element. Remember, Jupiter rules Sag, Mars rules Aries, and the sun rules Leo, the 3 domicile rulers of fire signs: selfhood, action, idea, thinking big, truth and wisdom and beauty, and helping others and service, and showing yourself to the world and getting out into reality in a very dynamic way, leading with what you're passionate about. All of those things are highly supported right now. And this is a time where you'll have all of the planets, so the 7 planets rule the 12 houses. 5 of them rule 2 houses. And in the transiting sky, when a transiting planet gets some dignity, it can support the houses of our natal chart. Of course, it can be complex to break down exactly the full story, but in a most general way, you have a positive mitigation for whatever's happening in every area of your life during this moment here. And the moon will be in that decan. It's some Monday night into Tuesday, depending where you are. Those 10 degrees in Sagittarius when the moon is in that decan. The image I like for this decan of the moon comes from the Crowley Thoth Tarot. And he calls it the Strength card. It's not the Strength Tarot Trump. Crowley had named that card a Lust, but it is the card called Strength. It's one of the pip cards. It's the 9 of Wands. And so it really underscores the idea of the power of this moment. Do your thing. Get out into reality. Push out. Push ahead. Push forward. Love life. Celebrate existence. Those things happen here Monday and into Tuesday with this special, special moment. And so now we can shift to the full moon. The one thing right off the bat I want to mention about this full moon is it happens in a degree, the 24th degree of Sagittarius, or 23 degrees Sagittarius. It's on the fixed star Ras Al-Hague, the fixed star which is in the head of Asclepius the healer, or Ophiuchus, the constellation, Ophiuchus Asclepius, right in that head. This is the star known to be the healing star, the healer star, medicinal healing. It's a whole mythology. You might look for this to capture a moment with this full moon of how are you healing now, given everything we've gone through the last 2 years. Where's your healing component, your healing hat in the midst of this dynamic June? How can we kind of right wrongs? I even just think about praying for other people, sending love to all beings, kind of centering healing energies. As we maneuver, because this fixed star symbolism is one of the most healing stars in the whole of the zodiac. You'll see astrological magicians making potions for this star, Asclepius potions. This is the star for healing. And so you might want to pray if you're suffering right now or physically infirm in any way. Connect during this full moon and, heal me, show me. The other thing I love about this full moon, look at it. It's trine, Jupiter and Mars by sign. So you get this fire trine. It underscores everything I just said. That strength card, even though the moon is out of that decan now by this time, it's still the power of the fire element. And this wonderful fire trine, Moon, Jupiter, is opportune for, again, passionate action during this full moon. The other thing is that Mars is trine, Saturn is sextile. You've got no hard aspect with either Mars or Saturn. The lunar nodes are reverse. This is one of the best full moons, I think, to get out and party and celebrate. This is the kind of full moon I would want to be dancing at, like a foam party on an island in Thailand. Those crazy full moon parties. Maybe I wouldn't for other reasons. That's not kind of my flow at this stage of my life, but it might be fun to get out and go dancing all night. Maybe I'll look to do that. When is this? Tuesday, so Monday night. Maybe I'm going to try to go out and get into the nightlife where I am and see what's emergent on a Monday night. But that's the major thing of this full moon. It's one of the best moons I've seen in a long, 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 long time in terms of a syzygy. in terms of a non-eclipse syzygy, and it's ruled by the fire Jupiter in its own Egyptian term there in Aries. You know, the power Mars makes the trine, and again, the malefics and the difficult configurations aren't present. So enjoy this full moon. And so just to come back in here, I'll look just here to check out what the moon's doing this week. You can see the full moon there on Tuesday, 1351 here in Central Europe. The moon will enter Capricorn the next day on Wednesday, very early, 13 a.m., right after midnight. The moon will then be conjoined with Saturn when it enters Aquarius, 16 June. That will be, 23, that's Thursday. So the moon's moving very fast right now, and it's moving through Capricorn in less than 2 days. It just blows through Capricorn, enters Aquarius, co-present with Saturn, and then it comes into Pisces on the 19th at 1 in the morning there on Sunday the 19th. That would be the next pocket I would look for if you're looking to do something, is wait till that moon is ruled by Jupiter in Aries, in Pisces, averse to all the difficult stuff. It will be sextile Venus, which is nice, that moon in Pisces, its exaltation ruler. So that's kind of the lay of the land for the moon this cycle and this week. We're talking here about the story of Venus and how I hope you got to enjoy Venus and Taurus up into this point. I hope you got to lean into the earthy, pleasurable, beauty side of life, staying fixed and relaxing and luxuriating and what makes you feel good and creating things, getting into the garden, enjoying food, meals. These are perfect for Taurus. But now Venus and Taurus comes up against the longer term cycles of the nodes and of Saturn this week. And you can see Venus will be, first it meets the North Node, and this will be on Thursday, like I had said earlier. And this is the nodes of corruption. That's a little bit of a darker take. The nodes of fate. Sometimes, fate does corrupt what isn't fated. What is not fated is destroyed by fate. That's one way to think about the nodes. They're going to take things. They're going to take things from us, and they can disorientate. Because we get used to how we think things should be, the nodal configurations will show us how things are to be. And that is what may be happening here this week with Venus on the North Node, right there with the North Node, near Uranus too, so there could be a component or element of surprise into what gets taken or what arrives as a result of this configuration. And then you have only 2 days later, Saturday, 2331, just before the moon ingresses into Pisces this week, you'll get the squaring of Saturn and Venus. And so Venus will now have to come up against the limitations and the cool limitations of Saturn and Aquarius. And Saturn is in superior position, meaning that it's almost, this to me feels like facing the music. It feels like going into some pleasurable activity and then realizing, hey, this is actually not good for me, or that was too much, or I'm going to have to let go of my attachment to what I was thinking I wanted or needed to feel good and happy and satisfied. Saturn here is going to be maybe restricting or letting things go. And we'll have to sort of relearn Venus a little bit here. By the end of this, the last day or two of Venus and Taurus, I think it'll be a chance to enjoy, and that'll be early next week. It'll be a chance to just say, okay, that is now my new understanding of how I like to engage beauty and art and pleasure. As a result of this week, the end of this week, Venus having to go through a bit of pressure here. So, that's the weekly astrology. I don't have much more to say. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you got to enjoy this last iteration of this particular format. And I encourage you to stick around. A lot of good stuff on this channel. And I'm going to up my game, bringing more of an intellectual rigor, a topical breadth, and more of a kind of deep dive into things that I think are pertinent and useful for our astrology as it's unfolding. You can also at any time, I'm going to mention this now, if you have a comment, you can put, hey, make a video on this, and I will be responsive to that. I'm going to be making videos, a lot of them, and I need, content. I have a ton of content, never runs out really, because astrology is a beautiful, infinite, always moving the planets. So there's always new things happening, but there's a whole history of thousands and thousands of years. It's very hard to run out of things to talk about. But if you want me to talk about something, if you have a question, just put it in a comment. and I'll see if it fits. I'll do a video on it. I may even do some Q&A videos at some point. I know that's a style you'll see here on YouTube. It's like, all right, this is my Q&A video, and run through 2 or 3 questions pretty fast in like an 8-minute video, 10-minute video. So anyhow, thank you for being here. Have an awesome, awesome week. Enjoy this maybe best astrology of the year and this waning moon cycle after the full moon, that really awesome full moon and that Sag moon leading up to the full moon. Enjoy it. Get into your healing. Love yourself and others. We'll talk real soon.